Welcome to a special episode of Coffee with Jesus. I am your host, Todd Jubilee. I know it seems a little unusual to have so many episodes coming out recently, but we live in some pretty unusual times. The main mission of Coffee with Jesus is to provide hope and encouragement and comfort. Given the times that we're currently living in, I know those are in pretty short supply. So I felt the need to put out another special episode in the hopes that, given all the news, especially recently, that I can in some small way provide some of that hope and some of that comfort and encouragement. This episode may be a little more terrestrial in nature because I do want to discuss some of the recent news events, particularly those that are the ones that are causing that fear and that discouragement. In just the past few days, there have been pretty big things in the news. First, our president flat out said, yeah, there are going to be food shortages here in the U.S. And that was a pretty stunning admission. I mean, the thought of there just not being food, that is one of the most basic necessities for survival. And then we also have some of the, we'll say the experts, at least for the Russian media, who have flat out said if NATO sends peacekeepers into Ukraine, that would lead to, quote, universal nuclear war, unquote. Now, a lot of that can be dismissed as posturing, but when you take into account the fact that our president has also told troops in Poland that they would see firsthand the resistance of the Ukrainians, i.e., that they would soon be going into Ukraine, that's pretty scary. Now, I will say that, at least at the time of this recording, the White House did quickly and adamantly walk back those comments that our president made in Poland. But still, the situation in Europe is pretty scary, and there is that threat that is hanging over our head like the sword of Damocles. It makes for some very scary times. There's an old proverb / blessing / curse commonly attributed to China that says, may you live in interesting times. And folks, we are living in interesting times. I saw a meme and I used it in the YouTube video for the last special episode. And basically says, I want to stop witnessing historical events. And I'll post it up in the YouTube video for this one as well briefly. And yeah, I would really love to stop witnessing historical events. But we are. And much like those historical events in the past, we will get through this as well. Folks, Paul tells us in 2 Timothy 1:7, God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And I think that would be the theme of this particular episode. Overcoming our fear of world events. God does not call us to a life of fear, but to a life of love, to a life of power, and to a life of self-discipline. With all the scary talk in the media and all the posturing by world leaders, the world is a pretty scary place. The thing is, none of this is new. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that we are facing or have faced in the last couple years, we faced before. As a society, as a nation, as a planet. We have been through 2 world wars. We have been through multiple pandemics. We have been through the Great Depression. And we have been on the brink of Armageddon in the past as well. The Cuban Missile Crisis, we were literally probably seconds away from an all-out, quote, universal nuclear war, unquote. And folks, we made it through each of these horrible world events, and we prospered. And I'm here to tell you today that as scary as things look, we are going to make it through these world events. We are going to prosper. I've shared in the past how there was a lady at my church who thought I had a lot of faith because I was so confident that God was going to take care of things. And I personally don't attribute that to any great personal faith, but rather knowing that God will help me because He has helped me so much in the past. And because God has helped me so much in the past, I know that He will help me with whatever I'm experiencing in the present. And folks, we can take the same concept and apply it on a global scale. Globally, we have faced food shortages. Globally, we have faced pandemics. Globally, we have faced nuclear annihilation and Armageddon. Globally, we have faced world wars. And globally, we have come through it all. I'm going to go out on a limb here because I personally do not believe that we are going to be involved in a nuclear war. I believe that the threat is very real, and I believe that there is a lot of danger in our world today if any of our world leaders do misstep. But given our history, and given how many times we have been on the brink before, many of you will remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. Some of you have lived through it, others of you may have read about it, but we were about as close as you could be to a nuclear Armageddon, and we stepped back from the brink. And life went on, and life even got better and prospered. And I personally believe that what we are seeing in Europe now is the Cuban Missile Crisis of the 21st century. I believe that the threat is very real, but I also believe that we will walk it back, and that we will avoid the nuclear Armageddon. Given that we have experienced these things as a society and come through them, I feel confident in saying that we will come through them again. So I would like to just say that there's no need to worry. I understand that what is happening in the world today is very, very scary, and it induces a lot of anxiety. But I believe that there is no need for us to worry. In fact, Jesus tells us in Luke 12, starting at verse 22, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For the life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why worry about the rest?" Folks, I believe very firmly that God will take care of us. And I believe, given our history and what we have come through in the past, that we will come through this as well. So I would like to encourage you all to try not to worry. And I know, believe me, I know firsthand that is easier said than done. But God will take care of us. I know this because God has taken care of me. And I've shared many of my experiences on this podcast. So I know that God will take care of us now. And looking through history, we as a society have come through exactly what we're going through now. And I believe that we will come through this again. It's never easy when you're in the middle of a storm to see the sunshine that is going to follow. But that sun is there. When we are going through difficult times, it can be difficult to see our Savior, God's Son. But the sun is there. So please focus on the sun. Focus on our Savior and know that He is going to protect us and take care of us. And that even when we are living in scary times, God is there and God will take care of us. And God will help us individually and collectively as a society to come through the scary times and even prosper on the other side. Folks, in the last special episode, I ended it by saying it's going to be okay. I still believe that everything is going to be okay. So please take a deep breath, say a little prayer, do your best to not worry, and know it's going to be okay.